Welcome into another episode of Untitled Film Project Podcast, a special Untitled Interview edition, of course, and we are so excited, I do not say that lightly, to have Pawo Choyning Dorji, writer and director of the Oscar-nominated drama The Monk and the Gun, hitting movie theaters on February 9th. Mr. Dorji, thank you so much for doing this.
Thank you so much.
It is truly an honor to have you.
Thank you so much, Jeremy. First of all, it's very auspicious that you say Oscar nominated, but I'm Oscar shortlisted for this one. But nomination would have been great. But I'll take that as an auspicious, auspicious word. So yeah, we were nominated with our first film, A Yak in the Classroom, and we are shortlisted with this one.
Then that still counts. You are still Oscar.
Yeah.
But I wanted to lead off with that real quick before Jim jumps in. I wanted to talk about the awards for a second because again, you're shortlisted on this one, right? Nominated on the other one. So when you hear your name called, right, as the winner of the Palm Springs International Film Festival, or you're nominated for an Oscar or whatever the case is, that's got to be a pretty intense emotion, I would think.
Oh, it is. 3 years ago, I was on a mountaintop in the Himalayas, 16,000 feet above sea level. No electricity, solar battery, charging my one camera. I took one shower in 2 months with a yak in the classroom. And then fast forward 3 years, I'm Oscar nominated, Oscar shortlisted, winner of different film festival awards. It's an amazing dream, and when I did make it to the Dolby Theater, and the Samuel Goldwyn Theater, and the Academy members were there, I told them, I was like, this improbable journey that I've been on from the mountaintop here, it's just not for Bhutanese filmmakers, but the Academy members are sending a clear and loud message to aspiring filmmakers all over the world. Filmmakers who are wondering if anyone will watch their film, if they are indeed doing the right thing by putting all their effort into following their passion and making stories. You are sending a loud message that yes, you make your film, you work hard, you put your heart into it, and you too could end up here.
Well, it's one of the most compelling stories of the country changing so quickly. I mean, there's thousands and thousands of years of culture, and then all of a sudden a country is going to become a democracy, and that's the subject of your film. And yes. At the same time, and you see the beauty of the culture and everything, but you also see the complications that come with suddenly having to decide your own fate. And I thought you built it in such a beautiful way, from such a personal level, at a family level, at a village level. And you also have this compelling drama at the same time of, why does this monk, this, really revered man, why does he want a gun? And to me, it's one of the most innovative story ideas I've seen in years. Can you tell us, where that? Obviously, we understand the democracy part and the free will of the people as an inspiration, but where did the monk wanting a gun idea come from?
Well, I feel like for me, the kind of stories I tell, it's a lot to do with my own background. I had a multicultural background. And when I look back at my life and the background, the upbringing I've had, I grew up with a diplomatic father, traveled all over the world, and I think that made me look at Bhutanese culture, Bhutanese stories in a very objective way. I always tell people that in Bhutan we have a saying: one will never see their own eyelashes because they are so close. But me growing up outside kind of placed me in a position where I was able to see my own eyelashes. I studied in the US for my undergrad, and at that time I was studying political science. So growing up in the US, I really witnessed how, and especially when you are in college studying political science, how the Americans were celebrating this notion of democracy. And
Yes.
then on the other side, witnessing my own country going through that change but not accepting it. And I found, oh, how ironic, that they are like trying to shun away something that the rest of the world really celebrates. And the other thing was, after college, after I studied political science, I had this deep yearning to study Buddhism. So I went to monasteries in northern India, and I spent considerable amount of time there studying Buddhism. And then while studying Buddhism, especially our kind of Buddhism, which is known as Vajrayana Buddhism, that opened up, a door into a whole nother world of stories and inspirations that I could tap into. Specifically in Vajrayana Buddhism, symbolism is a very, very important tool for the path. And of course, as you will notice with The Monk and the Gun, symbolism is a very, very important medium through which I tell the story.
Yes, and it's also, I think, going to be challenging for for an American audience, because you rightly, show two things, I think, prominently in this film, that is that what is our culture? We love our democracy and we love our guns, and and this is, I think, one of the most interesting perspectives, because you don't come at it from a, no guns, pro guns argument at all.
Yeah. No, Jim, when I was writing the screenplay for this, I was very, very meticulous and careful, because when the film was made, I didn't want people to, just as you said, I didn't want them to watch this film and be like, oh, Pawo is anti-gun, or Pawo is anti-democracy, or he's pro-monarchy. I didn't want people to think that. I wanted it to be just a story that didn't have rough edges, that just wanted to tell the story. And I think at the end, film, art, whatever we create artistically, it should become a medium a mirror upon which the audience can reflect back their own values. And I think The Monk and the Gun, I was always worried, because it is at the end a political satire. And when it is a political satire, when it is a political story, it's very easy to fall into those traps. But I was very happy, with the way the audiences reacted. During the festival runs, there were people who, from the conservative side, for example, NRA members, who came and watched the film, and I was very curious on how they would react to it, and they loved it. When the film screened at Telluride Film Festival, they were telling the festival director, Julie Hunsinger, that this is such an amazing film, and this is what makes Telluride so special. I want more films like this. And on the other hand, during the film's Oscar campaign, we had individuals like Michael Moore, who came out to support and champion the film. And I think he said it best. He said it, that The Monk and the Gun teaches us Americans about ourselves without having anything to do with us. And I think that is the ultimate compliment. That is what film, that is what art is supposed to do. And I'm glad you brought it up, because for me, as a writer, as a director, I did not want the audience to come in and feel like, oh, it's leaning a certain way.
Right. Well, you certainly you balanced on the head of a needle beautifully, and I just want to say, to be able to see those concepts and talk about those things, and think about those concepts that this movie brings up, but to do it through like a Bhutanese lens was so refreshing. And also, I think right now you should be the head of the tourism board for because I wanted to be there so bad. This movie is beautiful. The cinematography and just the characters, I think, and the people are beautiful. And it's something that I think buoys the entire movie, even when you're on the edge of your seat, wondering what's going to happen with the guns. That you can still enjoy this gorgeous, gorgeous country and people.
Well, for me, in both my films, The Yak in the Classroom and The Monk and the Gun, Bhutan is such an important. Bhutan is a character. And I really wanted to ensure that when people watch the films, they feel drawn into that space of Bhutan, and to really feel like they're in Bhutan. I'm happy to say that, both the films have helped tourism in Bhutan. And for a poor country like Bhutan, even one tourist coming to our country helps.
There's got to be a deep sense of pride, I would think, to not only be able to put your work out and your vision out and be rewarded for it, obviously, but there's got to be a deep sense of pride there to showcase your country and all these things that you're showcasing in such an artistic way. In my opinion, this is what art is. People are like, oh, movies aren't art. Well, okay, so first of all, they are, but this in particular, this is what it is. This is how movies are great because of what you have done in this film.
Oh, for me, I think one of the most proudest moments I've had was, when I submitted the Yak in the Classroom to the Academy for Oscar contention. At that time, the Academy website didn't even have my country or didn't even have my language listed in their, the database. So it was very difficult for me to submit. But I was able to submit. And then when I was in the Dolby Theater, to actually hear my language, visually see my country on the screen, and to visually and to hear my language echoing through the speakers. It was such a proud moment for me, very surreal. But as you were saying, film is art, and for me, the Buddha actually said this. The Buddha said that art, the word for art in our language means falsehood and illusion. And we say that the Buddha said that it is through this creation of falsehood and illusion can we connect people to reality and the truth. And that is what art is. That is what films should be, right?
Yes.
We create these things so the audience can reflect and they are connected to their own reality, their own truth that they seek.
Well, we can't thank you enough for doing this, spending some time with us.
Yeah.
It was just a tremendous film. It's beautiful. It's gorgeous. It's again, reflection, I think, is the right word for sure. And to be able to showcase that, especially I'm just speaking as an American here, our current political climate, it's so important. And I hope everyone goes and sees this. It's so important.
Thank you so much.
So awesome. We are honored to have spent some time today with Pawo Choyning Dorji, writer, director, co-producer of the new Oscar shortlisted drama, Monk and the Gun, in theaters everywhere, February 9th. Mr. Dorji, thank you so much for doing this. We really, really appreciate your time.
Thank you.
Thank you for listening to the Untitled Film Project Podcast. To support the show, please rate, review, follow, and subscribe. Original music by Jeremy Schwartz. Special thanks to the Music City Film Critics Association. Editing and post-production by Jeremy K. Gover. Voiceover by Chad Bennett.